Chosen one, if you feel like your life is currently frozen, like a computer screen that will not respond, no matter how hard you click, stop pressing. Do not panic. Do not force it. Look at your reality right now. The disconnection you feel from your family, the sudden coldness in your relationships, the exhaustion that sleep cannot cure. That is not a breakdown. That is a system override. God has deliberately frozen your old reality because He is installing a massive upgrade that your current life cannot support. You are not crashing. You are buffering. But here is the danger. If you keep trying to force your old life to work while God is installing the new one, you will corrupt the file. Right now, in your mind, I want you to visualize a keyboard in front of you. It represents your control over your life. You have been pounding on the keys, trying to make things go back to normal. Now, in your mind, take your hands off the keyboard, step back, and let the installation finish. What looks like death to you is actually the reboot of a lifetime. Before we go deeper into this diagnostic, I need you to commit to watching this until the very last second, because what we are doing today is not just a motivational talk. We are running a full system diagnostic and repair. By the end of this video, I will give you the manual uninstall protocol to clear the space for your miracle, and we will perform a final activation ceremony to seal this upgrade. If you leave halfway through, you leave with a corrupted system, half old and half new, which is a dangerous place to be. Stay with me. Let us finish this process together. Now, let us look at the symptoms. Have you noticed that in the last 72 hours, you feel like a stranger in your own house? I want you to zoom into that moment from this morning. You walked into the kitchen. You saw the people you have lived with for years. You saw your spouse, or your parents, or your children, and for a split second, you felt nothing, just a cold distance, like you were watching a movie of someone else's life. Or think about when you sat down at your desk to work. You looked at the same tasks you have done for years, but today it felt like looking at a foreign language. You picked up your phone to scroll, but your thumb just hovered over the screen. You put it back down. You picked it up again. You felt a restless agitation in your chest, a silent scream that wanted to ask, "What am I doing here?" You think you are losing your mind. You think you are losing your love for people. You think you are becoming cold and bitter. You are not. This is the stranger effect. And it is happening because your spirit has just upgraded to a frequency that your current environment cannot match. Imagine you are a high-speed Wi-Fi signal trying to connect to a dial-up modem from the 90s. The modem is not broken, the signal is not bad, they are simply incompatible. The frustration you feel when you talk to old friends, that urge to run away when the conversation gets shallow, that is the friction of incompatibility. You are trying to drag a heavy, low-frequency reality into a high-frequency season, and your spirit is rejecting it. This is exactly what Jesus was explaining in the book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 22. But most people miss the technical warning hidden in this verse. He said, "And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. If he does, the wine will burst the skins, and the wine is destroyed, and so are the skins." Listen closely to that word, burst. In the original text, this implies a violent explosion. It is not a gentle leak. It is a destruction. Why? Because new wine is still fermenting. It is expanding. It releases gases and pressure. It is alive and moving. An old wineskin has already stretched as far as it can go. It is rigid. It is set in its ways. It cannot expand any further. If you put that expanding, powerful new wine into that rigid old skin, the pressure becomes too great. Boom. Everything is lost. You have been begging God for the new wine. You have been praying for the wealth, the influence, the divine connection. And God is saying, I cannot give it to you yet. Not because I do not want to, but because if I pour this level of power into your current life structure, into your current relationships, into your current mindset, you will burst. You will be destroyed. The glitch you are feeling right now, the frozen screen, the broken relationships, the feeling of being a stranger, that is God's mercy. He is stopping the pour. He is waiting for you to change the wineskin so he does not have to waste the wine. So, let us reframe this entire season. You are not experiencing a crash, you are experiencing a reboot. A computer only needs a reboot when it has installed new updates that change its core operation. The screen goes black. The functions stop. It looks dead. But inside, the code is being rewritten. That is you right now. The confusion is the rewriting. The isolation is the rewriting. The loss of interest in old things is the rewriting. You are not broken. You are under construction. But I know the question haunting you in the quiet of the night. You are thinking, but how do I know this is really God? How do I know this isn't just me falling apart? How do I know this isn't an attack from the enemy trying to steal my joy? I need you to listen very carefully. There are 3 specific signs, biological and environmental markers, that your body and your physical world are screaming at you right now. These are not vague feelings. These are evidence. And if you are experiencing even one of them, it is proof that the upgrade has begun. Let me show you exactly what to look for. The first evidence is something I call biological rejection. This is when your physical body detects the incompatibility before your mind does. You might have experienced this recently. You walked into a place you have visited 1,000 times, maybe your workplace, maybe a friend's house, or maybe even a specific room in your own home. And the moment you crossed the threshold, your body reacted. I want you to scan your body right now as you listen to this. Think back to that moment. Did you feel a sudden, unexplainable drop in energy? 1 minute you were fine, and the next, you felt like someone pulled the plug on your life force. Or perhaps it manifested as a physical nausea, a tightness in your chest, or a knot forming in the pit of your stomach. You probably told yourself you were just tired. You probably reached for another coffee or blamed it on something you ate. But chosen one, listen to me. That was not food poisoning. That was frequency poisoning. Your spirit has ascended to a new level, but your physical environment is still vibrating at the old level. When high frequency meets low frequency without a buffer, the result is physical repulsion. Notice the heaviness that settles at the base of your skull when you are around certain people. That is not a headache. That is your spiritual antenna picking up interference. Your body is literally rejecting the environment because it is no longer safe for the new version of you. It is the same biological mechanism that happens when a body rejects a transplanted organ that does not match. You are trying to graft your new self into an old situation, and your cells are screaming no. This leads directly to the second sign, which is the social firewall. This is the most painful one because it involves the people you love. You have noticed a shift in your relationships. It is not that you hate them. It is not even that they have done anything wrong. But suddenly, the conversation feels dry. It feels shallow. It feels like you are speaking 2 different languages. You used to be able to sit with these friends for hours and talk about nothing. But now, 5 minutes into the conversation, you feel like you are suffocating. You are physically present, sitting in the chair, nodding your head, but internally, you are checking the exit. You are wondering, why can I not connect anymore? Why does this feel so draining? This is where we must look at the wisdom of the prophet Amos. In Amos chapter 3 verse 3, he asks a question that is often quoted but rarely understood. He asks, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" We often think this verse is about agreeing on a topic or a plan, but let us look at the context of the Hebrew imagery here. To walk together implies a synchronized rhythm. It implies a shared destination and a shared pace. If one person is walking toward a spiritual upgrade and the other is walking in circles of stagnation, they are physically incapable of walking together. The friction you feel is not a lack of love, it is a lack of alignment. God is putting up a social firewall around you. He is making those conversations dull. He is making those connections uncomfortable. He is allowing conflict to arise over small, petty things. Why? Because he is severing the cords that anchor you to the past. If you stayed comfortable in those relationships, you would never leave. So God is making it uncomfortable to force you to let go. He is not being cruel. He is protecting your destination. And finally, the third sign, and this is the one that makes you feel like you are losing control, is environmental chaos. This is the physical manifestation of the bursting wineskin we talked about earlier. Look at your life in the last few weeks. Has technology been breaking around you? Did your car break down for no logical reason? Did appliances in your house suddenly stop working? Did a deal that was 99% sure suddenly fall through at the last second? You call this bad luck. You call it spiritual attack. But I want you to see it through the lens of the upgrade. When a system is overloaded with power, it was not designed to carry. The circuits blow. The structures crack. The chaos you are seeing in your physical reality is proof that your spiritual voltage has increased. Your old car, your old house, your old job, your old financial flow, they were containers built for the old you. They cannot handle the weight of the glory that is coming upon you, so they are breaking. The pipes are bursting. The systems are failing. This is not the enemy destroying you. This is the old wineskin tearing apart because the new wine is expanding. Now, I want you to pause and look at the pattern. Your body is rejecting the old. Your relationships are failing to sync. Your physical environment is breaking down. When you put these three signs together, the diagnosis is undeniable. You have outgrown your life. You are a giant trying to wear the clothes of a child, and the seams are ripping. Now that you see the signs, I know exactly what you are thinking. I know the instinct kicking in right now. You are thinking, okay, I see it, so I need to fix it. I need to heal my body. I need to go repair those relationships. I need to glue the broken pieces of my life back together so I can handle this upgrade. But I warn you, chosen one, stop. That instinct to fix, to repair, to patch up the old is the single most dangerous mistake you can make right now. It is the fatal error that keeps 90% of chosen ones trapped in a loop of endless wilderness. If you try to fix what God is breaking, you are fighting God. And I am about to tell you why your desire to heal these things is actually a trauma response that will block your blessing. You see, the reason you want to fix the cracks in your life is because you are addicted to the familiar. Even if the familiar is painful, even if the familiar is small, at least you know it. It is safe. It is predictable. Your brain is wired to choose a known hell over an unknown heaven. So when the upgrade begins and things start breaking, your trauma response kicks in. You start scrambling. You try to have the hard conversations to save the relationship that has clearly expired. You pour money into the car that keeps breaking down because you are afraid of the car payment for a new one. You work double shifts to impress a boss who has already decided to overlook you. You are frantically trying to tape together a mirror that God has shattered. But here is the hard truth I need you to swallow. That instinct to fix, That is not faith, that is fear. You are afraid that if this old structure falls apart, there will be nothing to catch you. You are afraid that the void left by these people and these things will consume you. But God is saying in Isaiah 43, verses 18 and 19, "Remember not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing." We love to quote the second part about the new thing, but we ignore the command in the first part. Remember not. In the Hebrew context, this does not just mean to stop thinking about it. It implies a deletion of the record. It means you must stop using your past as the blueprint for your future. You are trying to build your upgrade using the bricks from your demolition. It does not work. Every time you try to glue the old wineskin back together, you are delaying the pour of the new wine. You are telling God, "I do not trust your upgrade. I prefer my old, broken version." Let me tell you a story about someone who is watching this video right now. They know who they are. 6 months ago, this chosen one was sitting exactly where you are. They had a job that paid the bills. It was not their passion, but it was secure. They had a title, they had a routine. Then, out of nowhere, the glitch happened. Sign number 3, environmental chaos. They were called into an office on a Tuesday afternoon. No warning, no bad performance review. Just a cold 10-minute conversation, budget cuts, restructuring, effective immediately. I want you to zoom into that moment. Picture them walking back to their desk. The hum of the fluorescent lights suddenly felt deafening. They opened a cardboard box. They started putting in their photos, their coffee mug, the little plants they had watered for 3 years. The sound of the packing tape sealing that box felt like the sound of a coffin closing. They walked to the elevator, holding that box, trying not to make eye contact with the colleagues they had laughed with yesterday. They got into their car in the parking lot. They gripped the steering wheel until their knuckles turned white. And they did exactly what you are tempted to do. They tried to fix it. For the next 3 months, they panicked. They applied for jobs they were overqualified for. They reached out to old contacts who suddenly stopped replying. They tried to force doors open that had slammed shut. They were bargaining with God. They said, "Lord, just give me my old life back and I will be happy. I just want stability." But God remained silent. The doors stayed locked. The savings account started to drain. The fear in their chest woke them up at 3 a.m. every single night. They felt like a failure. They felt abandoned. But do you know what was actually happening? God was starving their fear to feed their destiny. Because the door remained shut, they were forced, out of pure desperation, to look at the idea they had buried in a notebook 5 years ago. That business idea, that ministry idea, that creative project they said they would do someday. With no other options, with their back against the wall, they finally stopped trying to fix the old career. They opened the laptop and started building the new one. Fast forward to today. That chosen one is making 3 times what they made in that cubicle. They are waking up with purpose. They are impacting lives. And when they look back at that Tuesday afternoon, they realize that getting fired was not a tragedy. It was a rescue mission. The empty office was not a void. It was a womb. God had to forcefully remove them from the table of the good so they could sit at the table of the great. If they had succeeded in fixing the old situation, they would still be in that cubicle today, missing their destiny. Now, I want to talk to the part of you that is hiding in the shadows. The part of you that listened to that story and felt a knot in your stomach instead of hope. Because there is a dark side to the upgrade that nobody talks about. We celebrate the breakthrough, but we ignore the breakdown that precedes it. And right now, you are having some raw, ugly thoughts that you are too ashamed to speak out loud. You are thinking, "I am lonely. If I accept this upgrade, If I let go of these people, who will be left? Will I be standing at the top of the mountain by myself? You look at your friends, your family, and you feel a terrible guilt. You feel like you are abandoning them. A voice in your head whispers, "You are becoming arrogant. You think you are better than them. You are turning into someone cold and unfeeling." You are afraid of the success you are praying for, because success means visibility, and visibility means judgment. You are terrified that if you actually step into this power, you will be exposed. You will make a mistake. You will lose it all and be humiliated publicly. So you self-sabotage. You shrink back. You dim your light just a little bit so you do not blind the people around you. You apologize for your power. You pretend to be confused when you actually know the answer. You play small to keep the peace. Chosen one, listen to me. That fear you feel, it is valid, but it is lying to you about its origin. You think you are afraid because you are weak. You think you are afraid because you are not ready. But let me reframe this shadow for you. The fear is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of reverence. You are terrified because your spirit knows the magnitude of what is coming. Only a fool would walk into the presence of God without trembling. The weight of the glory is heavy. The responsibility of the mantle is immense. The fact that you are scared proves that you are not arrogant. It proves that you respect the assignment. The people who crash and burn are the ones who have no fear, who grab the blessing like a toy. You treat it like a weapon. That fear is your safety mechanism. It keeps you humble. It keeps you dependent on God. And regarding the loneliness, you are not losing friends. You are losing anchors. You are not leaving them behind because you don't love them. You are going to a place where they cannot breathe. If you stay down there with them to keep them company, you both suffocate. But if you go up, if you accept the upgrade, you become the hand that can reach down and pull them up later. You cannot save anyone if you are drowning with them. Right now, I want you to do something with me. Do not move your body. Just shift your focus inward. Close the eyes of your mind and visualize yourself standing in a hallway. In your hands, you are holding heavy bags. These bags are labeled with the names of the people you are trying to please. They are labeled with your guilt. They are labeled with your need for approval. They are labeled with your fear of being seen. Your knuckles are white, your arms are shaking. You have been carrying these bags for years, thinking they are part of your identity. You think if you drop them, you will float away and disappear. Now, in your imagination, I want you to simply open your hands. Do not throw the bags. Just open your fingers. Let gravity do the rest. Hear the sound they make as they hit the floor. Thud. Feel the blood rushing back into your fingers. Feel your shoulders drop 3 inches. Take a breath into that new space in your chest. You did not disappear. You just became lighter. You just became compatible with the ascent. You might be thinking, okay, I understand. I need to stop fixing. I need to let go. But surely this takes time. Surely I need to wait for God to bring the right people, to open the right doors. I just need to be patient, right? I just need to wait on the Lord. That sounds holy. That sounds righteous. But I am about to tell you a truth that will overturn everything you have ever been taught about waiting. You think you are waiting on God. But what if I told you that God is actually waiting on you? What if the very thing you call patience is actually the thing that is blocking your upgrade? What I am about to reveal in the next minute will shift your entire timeline from someday to right now. You have been told that patience is your greatest virtue. You have been told that the mark of a true chosen one is the ability to wait on the Lord. You have sat in church pews or watched videos or read books that stroked your ego by telling you that your stagnation is actually a holy pause. You tell yourself, I am not stuck. I am just waiting for God to move. I am standing still and letting Him fight my battles. It feels righteous, does it not? It feels safe. Because as long as you are waiting on God, you do not have to do anything scary. You can stay in the job you hate. You can stay in the town that drains you. You can stay in the relationships that lower your frequency, all while claiming that you are simply being faithful to the season of silence. You have built an entire theology around your inactivity. You say, if God wants me to move, He will open the door. If God wants me to have the new life, He will bring it to my doorstep. Until then, I will pray, I will fast, I will wait. You look at your life, which looks exactly the same today as it did 3 years ago, and you comfort yourself by saying, God's timing is perfect. I am just in the hallway. Chosen one, I need you to brace yourself, because I am about to shatter that false peace. I am about to take that comfort blanket of patience and rip it out of your hands. Because what you call patience, heaven calls paralysis. What you call waiting on God, God calls disobedience. This is the twist that nobody wants to tell you, because it puts the responsibility back on your shoulders. God is not waiting for the right time. The time is already right. God is waiting for you to make space. Let us go back to the computer analogy, because it is the only way to understand the mechanics of what is happening in the spirit. Imagine you have an old computer. The hard drive is completely full. It is stuffed with old files, outdated programs, corrupted data, and thousands of pictures from 10 years ago. The memory is at 99% capacity. Now, you buy the latest, most powerful operating system, Windows 11, or the latest Mac OS. This software is incredible. It has features that will change your life. It runs at lightning speed. It can do things your old system could never dream of. You have the disk in your hand. You have the download link ready. You are clicking install over and over again. But every time you click install, an error message pops up. Not enough disk space. Installation failed. So, what do? You start praying over the computer. You fast for the computer. You declare scriptures over the hard drive. You say, I believe in the mighty name of Jesus that this new operating system will install. You wait. You say, maybe it is not God's time for the upgrade. Maybe I just need to be patient. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? The computer does not care about your patience. It does not care about your prayers. It cares about capacity. The operating system cannot physically enter the machine because the old files are taking up the space that the new files need to occupy. You are praying for the upgrade of your life. You are praying for the billionaire mindset, the kingdom marriage, the massive influence. That is the new operating system. It is heavy. It requires terabytes of spiritual and emotional space. But your internal hard drive is full of clutter. You are full of old resentments. You are full of emotional attachments to people who left you years ago. You are full of habits that served you when you were surviving, but are useless now that you are thriving. You are full of the need for validation from people who do not even like you. You are hoarding memories of your trauma like they are treasures. And you are sitting there asking God, why haven't you sent the blessing? And God is looking at your life saying, where would I put it? If I gave you the $1 million idea today, you would filter it through your poverty mindset and destroy it. If I sent the husband or wife of your dreams today, you would bleed your past trauma all over them and ruin the relationship in a week. There is no room in the inn. God is not withholding the blessing. You are blocking the installation. The glitch you are feeling, the frozen screen we talked about, is your system crashing because you are trying to force a massive new reality onto a cluttered, outdated hard drive. So the command for this season is not wait. The command is uninstall. This is not a passive season. This is the most active, aggressive season of your life. You do not get the upgrade by sitting still. You get the upgrade by ruthlessly deleting the files that are taking up space. You might be arguing with me in your mind right now. You might be thinking, but the Bible says to wait on the Lord. The Bible says, stand still and see the salvation of God. Yes, it does. But you are applying the wrong protocol to the wrong season. There is a time to stand still, but there is also a time to move out. And for the chosen one at the brink of an upgrade, the protocol is almost always movement. Let us look at the father of faith, Abraham. In Genesis chapter 12, we see the blueprint for the chosen one's upgrade. God comes to Abram and makes him a promise. He says, I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. That is the upgrade. That is the new operating system. But notice the condition. Before the blessing, before the greatness, before the multiplication, there was a command. And the command was, not wait here until I change things. The command was, get thee out. Get out of your country. Get out of your kindred. Get out of your father's house. Look at the pattern. Separation precedes elevation. Deletion precedes installation. Abraham had to uninstall 3 massive layers of his identity. He had to uninstall his national identity, his cultural support system, and his family security. He had to delete the files of who he was in Ur so he could have the empty space to become who he would be in Canaan. If Abraham had said, Lord, I receive the promise of being a great nation, but I am going to stay here in my father's house and wait for you to do it, we would never have heard of him. He would have died in Ur, a man with a promise but no capacity to receive it. His obedience to leave was the act of creating disk space. By leaving the familiar, he created a vacuum. And spiritual physics dictates that nature abhors a vacuum. When you create empty space by active obedience, God is obligated to fill it with the upgrade. You are standing in your Ur right now. Your Ur is that comfort zone that is killing you. It is that relationship you know is dead, but you keep trying to revive it because you are scared of being alone. It is that job that drains your soul, but you stay because the paycheck is predictable. It is that habit of scrolling on your phone for 3 hours a night because you are afraid of the silence where God speaks. You are waiting for God to turn your Ur into Canaan. He will never do it. He is waiting for you to pack your bags. The twist in your journey is this. You have been waiting for God to add to your life. God is waiting to subtract from it. The kingdom of God is not just addition and multiplication, it is subtraction and division. He subtracts the noise to give you peace. He divides you from the crowd to give you intimacy. This is why the uninstalling process hurts. It feels like loss. When you delete a file on your computer, it is gone. When you delete a person from your life, or a habit, or a dream that was not from God, you feel the grief of that empty space, and because it hurts, you assume it is wrong. You assume the enemy is attacking you. But that pain is not the pain of injury, it is the pain of surgery. God is cutting out the cancer of the old so the new can live. Now, I want you to verify this in your own spirit. Close your eyes for a moment. Do not move, just visualize. Visualize your life as a room. Look around. Is it spacious and clean? Or is it crowded with furniture from the past? Are there boxes of regret stacked in the corners? Is there a pile of unspoken words on the table? Is the air thick with the opinions of other people? You want to bring the throne of God into this room, but there is nowhere for him to sit. Say this to yourself in your mind. I am not waiting, I am clearing. This shift in perspective changes everything. You stop being a victim of delay and you become an agent of preparation. You stop asking, why hasn't it happened? And you start asking, What can I let go of today? But this brings us to the most practical and dangerous part of the message. You cannot just start hacking away at your life randomly. If you delete the wrong system files on a computer, you crash the whole machine. If you cut the wrong people out of your life in the wrong way, you create unnecessary drama and bitterness that actually takes up more space. You need a surgical protocol. You need a way to identify exactly which files are corrupt, which ones are just old, and which ones are foundational and need to stay. You need to know how to isolate the virus before you delete it. Most chosen ones fail here. They get excited about the new, they burn bridges they were supposed to cross, or they keep bridges they were supposed to burn. They try to uninstall their past with a hammer instead of a scalpel. But how do you uninstall your life without destroying it? How do you know the difference between a test of patience and a call to disconnect? There is a precise 3-step manual uninstall protocol that you must begin today. It is not a theory. It is a set of actions that will clear the cache of your spirit and force the installation of your blessing. This protocol is your scalpel. It is not a weapon of mass destruction to ruin your life, but a surgical instrument to save it. You are going to perform spiritual surgery on your own existence, and like any surgery, it requires precision, a steady hand, and the courage to cut. There are 3 steps to the manual uninstall protocol. Step 1 is identify. You cannot delete a virus that you have not named. Most chosen ones are walking around exhausted because they have vague feelings of being drained, but they have never pinpointed the source. You say, "I am just tired of everything." No, you are not. You are tired of specific things, specific people, and specific leaks. Right now, I want you to do a mental audit. Do not move your hands. Do not grab a pen. We are doing this in the theater of your mind. Imagine you are sitting in a security room, looking at a wall of screens. Each screen shows a different area of your life. One screen is your job. One screen is your relationship. One is your finances. One is your habits. Now, look at the energy levels on each screen. Where do you see the red flashing light? Which specific interaction in the last 7 days made your stomach tighten? Who did you talk to that left you feeling like you needed a nap immediately after hanging up? What specific habit did you engage in that made you feel a wave of shame or emptiness the moment you stopped? Do not just say, "My job drains me." That is too broad. Zoom in. Is it the work itself, or is it the conversation with that one colleague at the water cooler? Is it the commute, or is it the lack of purpose? Identify the file name. Name the virus. Is it the complainer? Is it the time waster? Is it the addiction to validation? You must label it. A virus without a name is invincible. A virus with a name is vulnerable. Once you have identified the source, you move to step 2, which is isolate. This is where most people fail. They jump straight to confrontation. They want to have the big dramatic argument. They want to quit the job in a blaze of glory. They want to announce on social media that they are cutting people off. Stop. That is ego, not strategy. When antivirus software finds a threat, it does not scream at it. It quarantines it. It puts it in a box where it can no longer affect the rest of the system. This is the principle of strategic silence. You are going to isolate these people and these habits by withdrawing your energy, not your presence. You might still be physically in the room with them, but your spirit has left the chat. Visualize this action. Imagine taking that draining relationship, that toxic habit, and dragging it into a folder in your mind labeled quarantine. When you put it in there, you are deciding that from this moment on, you will not feed it any more emotion. You will not give it any more explanations. You will become gray rock, boring, unresponsive. When that person tries to bait you into the same old drama, you do not fight back. You do not defend yourself. You simply observe them from behind the glass of your quarantine folder. You say to yourself, I see the virus acting up, but I am no longer infected. You are isolating the drain. You are stopping the hemorrhage of your energy. And now we arrive at step 3, the hardest step: delete. Isolation is temporary. Deletion is permanent. There comes a moment after you have identified the rot and isolated the damage where you must make the cut. This is not about being cruel. It is about being compatible with your future. I want you to visualize the specific action of deletion. It is not always a shout. Usually, it is a whisper. It is the moment you hover your finger over the block contact button on your phone. Your finger is shaking. Your heart is pounding in your throat. You remember the good times. You remember the history. You feel like a traitor. But then, you remember the cost of keeping them. You remember the upgrade that is waiting for disk space. And you press the button. Or maybe the deletion is physical. It is walking into your kitchen, taking the junk food or the alcohol that has been your crutch and feeling the weight of it in your hand. It feels comforting. It feels like a friend. But you walk to the trash can, you open the lid, and you let it drop. You hear the thud at the bottom of the bin, and you do not look back. Maybe the deletion is a resignation letter. You type it out. You stare at the send button. You think about the uncertainty. You think about the paycheck. But then you think about your soul dying by inches every day under those fluorescent lights. And you click send. That micro action, that click, that drop, that block is the sound of chains breaking in the spirit. It is the sound of the hard drive clearing. It is the sound of space opening up for God to move. But I must warn you. I must prepare you for what happens the second you press delete, because you might think that once you cut the cord, you will feel instant peace. You might think the battle is over. You are wrong. The moment you hit delete, the moment you decide to uninstall the old life, the system goes into red alert. You have to understand that the matrix of your old life is not just a collection of random events. It is a sentient system designed to keep you asleep. It feeds on your stagnation. It feeds on your predictability. When you try to unplug, when you try to leave, the system defends itself. It is like a security alarm going off in a prison. You are making a break for it, and the guards are waking up. This is where the warfare begins. This is not the devil attacking you because he hates you. This is the devil attacking you because he is losing you. You will face specific forms of confrontation. And the first one, the one that hits you immediately after the deletion, is the guilt trip. This attack usually comes from the people closest to you, the ones you love, the ones you are trying to distance yourself from. They sense the shift in your energy, they feel you pulling away, and they panic. They do not want to lose their source of supply. So, they weaponize empathy against you. They will say things that are designed to pierce your heart. They will look at you with sad, confused eyes and say, "You have changed. You used to be so nice. You used to be so available. Why are you acting like you are better than us?" They will bring up the past. They will remind you of everything they did for you. They will say, "Remember when I helped you when you were broke? Remember when we were inseparable? How can you just throw that away? You are being selfish. You are being cold." Listen to me closely. That is not your mother speaking. That is not your best friend speaking. That is the system speaking through them. They are being used as mouthpieces to drag you back into the cage. When you hear those words, "You have changed," do not apologize. Do not defend yourself. In your spirit, you stand tall and you say, "Yes, I have changed. I was supposed to change." I was not created to stay the same forever. When they call you selfish, recognize that this is the gaslighting of the enemy. Taking care of your soul is not selfishness, it is stewardship. You are the temple of the Holy Spirit, and you have been letting people treat the temple like a public restroom. Locking the doors is not selfish. It is holy. This guilt trip is designed to make you doubt your decision. It is designed to make your hand shake and hit undo. It is designed to make you fish the bottle out of the trash, to unblock the number, to rescind the resignation letter. Stand firm. Visualize a shield of glass between you and their words. See their accusations hitting the glass and sliding off. They cannot touch you. You are in the quarantine zone. You are safe. But the enemy knows that guilt does not always work on a chosen one who is awake. If you resist the guilt, if you stand your ground and refuse to apologize for your growth, the system will shift tactics. It will stop trying to make you feel bad and start trying to make you feel crazy. The feeling of guilt is heavy, but it is just the first wave. There is a second form of attack that is far more subtle and far more dangerous. It does not come from the outside. It comes from the inside. It attacks your memory. It rewrites your history to make the prison look like a palace. It makes you hungry for the very poison you just spit out. The second form of attack is what I call the nostalgia trap. This is a weapon of mass distraction that attacks your memory. The moment you step into the wilderness of the unknown, the moment things get quiet and difficult because you have deleted the old distractions, the enemy will start to play a highlight reel of your past. But listen to me closely. This is not a documentary. It is a deep fake. The enemy is a master editor. He takes the footage of your past relationship, your past job, or your old lifestyle, and he edits out all the pain. He edits out the crying yourself to sleep. He edits out the disrespect. He edits out the emptiness. And he only shows you the moments of laughter, the moments of security, the moments of comfort. You are sitting there in your new empty space, and suddenly a thought drops into your mind like a poison dart. It says, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe I overreacted. At least when I was with them, I wasn't lonely. At least at that job, I knew what I was doing. You start to crave the very poison you just vomited up. This is exactly what happened to the Israelites in the book of Numbers, chapter 11. They had been delivered from slavery in Egypt. They were walking toward the promised land. They were eating manna, supernatural food provided by God Himself. But the journey was hard. The wilderness was hot. And in verse 5 they started to weep. And listen to what they cried for. They said, "We remember the fish, which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers, and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic." They were weeping for onions. They were weeping for garlic. They were so addicted to the flavor of their slavery that they despised the blandness of their freedom. They forgot the whips. They forgot the bricks. They forgot the 400 years of oppression. All they could remember was the food. Chosen one, you are doing the exact same thing right now. You are crying for the onions of your past. You are missing the toxic text messages because at least they gave you a dopamine hit. You are missing the chaos of that friendship circle because at least it gave you something to talk about. You are willing to trade your destiny for a little bit of flavor. Do not be fooled by this mental Photoshop. When that wave of nostalgia hits you, when you feel that ache in your chest to go back, I want you to perform a mental action right now. Visualize a courtroom in your mind. The enemy is the lawyer presenting this evidence of the good old days. I want you to stand up in that mental courtroom and object. Call the witness of pain to the stand. Force your mind to remember the truth. Force yourself to remember the anxiety. Force yourself to remember the nights you prayed to get out of that situation. Do not let the enemy romance your chains. If you go back now, you do not just go back to the onions, you go back to the slavery. And this time, the chains will be double the weight. If you survive the guilt trip, and you break through the nostalgia trap, the system will launch its third and most chaotic weapon, the false emergency. This is a distraction tactic designed to break your focus. The enemy knows that if you stay in this protocol for just a few more days, you will break through to a level he cannot touch. So he has to pull you out of the operating room before the surgery is finished. He does this by creating a fire in your peripheral vision. You have committed to deleting the old. You are focused, you are praying, and suddenly, boom, your car breaks down and the repair bill is exactly the amount you just saved. Or, suddenly, a family member who hasn't called you in years calls with a massive dramatic crisis and demands your time. Or you get a letter in the mail about a fine or a legal issue. It feels urgent. It screams for your attention. Your adrenaline spikes. You drop everything you are doing with your spiritual upgrade to run and put out this fire. You stop your morning routine. You stop your boundaries. You dive back into the chaos to fix it. And the moment you do, the enemy wins. Not because he destroyed you, but because he distracted you. He turned you from a general back into a firefighter. Hear me clearly. Most of the emergencies rising up in your life right now are smoke bombs. They are not real fires. They are optical illusions designed to get you off the wall. When these things happen, do not panic. Do not react. Do not abandon your post. Deal with them with cold, detached efficiency, but do not give them your emotional energy. Do not let them consume your mind. You say to the emergency, I will handle you, but I will not worship you. I will pay the bill, but I will not sell my peace. I know this sounds hard. I know you are thinking, but you don't understand. These problems are real. I want to tell you a story about a chosen one to prove to you that this protocol works even when all hell breaks loose. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah had been in a relationship for 4 years with a man who was a spiritual vampire. He wasn't physically abusive, but he was an anchor. He mocked her dreams. He drained her finances. He kept her in a state of constant confusion. For years, she tried to fix him. She prayed for him. She waited. Then she heard a message like this one. She realized she was incompatible with her own future. She applied the protocol. She identified the virus. She isolated the emotions. And on a Friday night, shaking and terrified, she finally pressed delete. She ended it. She blocked the number. She changed the locks. She thought the hard part was over, but 48 hours later, the counterattack began. He didn't get angry. He got charming. He sent flowers to her job. He sent a letter handwritten on expensive paper. He said everything she had waited 4 years to hear. He said, I've changed. I had a wake-up call. God spoke to me. I want to marry you. The nostalgia trap hit her like a truck. Her friends, the ones who didn't understand the warfare, became the flying monkeys for the guilt trip. They said, look, he's trying. You should give him one more chance. God believes in forgiveness, right? Then the false emergency hit. His mother got sick. He called her from the hospital, crying, needing support. Every single fiber of her old self wanted to rush back. The guilt was screaming. The nostalgia was weeping. The emergency was pulling. But Sarah did something she had never done before. She engaged her mental firewall. She remembered that God told her to uninstall, not to pause. She realized that his sudden change was not repentance. It was a manipulation tactic of the system to reclaim its prisoner. She did not reply. She did not go to the hospital. She stayed in the quarantine folder. She cried on her floor for 3 weeks. She felt like a monster. She felt like she was dying. The silence in her life was deafening. Day 30 passed. Nothing happened. Day 35 passed. She was still alone. The enemy whispered, "See, you made a mistake. You threw away love, and now you have nothing." But she held the line. She kept the space empty. On day 41, she was at a coffee shop, just reading a book, enjoying the peace she had fought so hard to keep. A man walked up to her, not to hit on her, but to ask about the book. They started talking. This man was not a project to be fixed. He was a king looking for a queen. He loved God more than she did. He had his own empire. The conversation flowed without friction. There was no nausea. There was no heaviness. It was easy. It was compatible. 6 months later, they were engaged. Now, listen to me. If Sarah had folded on day 3 when the flowers arrived, if she had folded on day 10 when the emergency happened, she would be back in that cycle right now, miserable and drained. She would have missed the divine connection that was waiting for her on day 41. The proof is in the persistence. The blessing is on the other side of the empty space. You have done the work. You have identified the glitch. You have stopped fixing the old. You have uninstalled the virus. You have fought through the guilt, the nostalgia, and the fake emergencies. Look around your spiritual house. It is quiet. It is empty. The hard drive is wiped clean. You are standing in the most dangerous and the most powerful moment of the entire process. Because an empty house is a target. If you do not fill this space immediately with the new operating system, the old demons will come back, and they will bring 7 more wicked than themselves. You have cleared the ground. Now we must build the skyscraper. And God has given me a specific timeline for this next step. The portal for installation is open, but it is closing fast. You have exactly 72 hours to download what comes next. You have exactly 72 hours to download what comes next. I am not giving you this time frame to scare you. I am giving it to you because, in the spirit realm, timing is not a suggestion, it is a coordinate. You have just completed a massive demolition. You have uninstalled the old operating system. Your spiritual hard drive is wiped clean. And this brings us to the third framework, the most critical law of this entire process. It is called the vacuum law. In physics, nature abhors a vacuum. If you create an empty space, the universe will rush to fill it. If you dig a hole in the sand near the ocean, the water rushes in immediately. In the spirit, the same law applies. You have created a massive vacuum in your life by deleting the toxic relationships, the old habits, and the clutter of the past. You are currently sitting in that empty space, and right now, the kingdom of God is rushing toward you like a tidal wave to fill that void. I want you to shift your focus to the top of your head right now. Do not touch it. Just focus your attention there. You might start to feel a slight pressure, a tingling sensation, or a sudden heat. That is not a headache. That is the feeling of the installation beginning. You see, an upgrade does not come from within you. You cannot think your way into a new dimension. An upgrade is a download. It comes from above. It descends. And right now, because you have made room, God is pouring a new file into your spirit. This file contains the blueprint for your next season. It contains the strategy for that business you have been scared to start. It contains the emotional intelligence for the marriage you have been praying for. It contains the boldness you need to walk into rooms that used to intimidate you. You do not need to force it. You do not need to strive for it. You just need to receive it. Imagine your spirit is a cup that has been emptied of dirty water. Now, clean, fresh water is pouring in. Feel the weight of it. God's glory is heavy. In Hebrew, the word for glory is kabod, which literally means weight. As this new operating system installs, you might feel a heaviness on your body. You might feel a need to sit down, to be quiet, to sleep. Do not fight this. This is the integration process. Your spiritual nervous system is rewiring itself to handle a higher voltage. And this is why the next 72 hours are so crucial. This is your prophetic window. The portal is open, the connection is established, the download speed is at maximum. Over the next 3 days, you must be hyper-vigilant. Pay attention to your dreams. God is going to speak to you in high definition while you sleep. Keep a notebook by your bed. Pay attention to sudden ideas that flash into your mind while you are driving or washing dishes. These are not random thoughts. These are executable files being dropped into your mind. Pay attention to who calls you. Pay attention to who suddenly disappears. The alignment is happening in real time. But I must give you a final, terrifying warning before we seal this. There is one thing, and only one thing, that can corrupt this installation right now. It is the one error that can crash the entire system and leave you worse off than when you started. It is the error of looking back. We see this tragedy in the story of Lot and his wife in Genesis 19. They were being rescued from Sodom. The city was being destroyed. The angels grabbed them by the hand and pulled them out. They gave them a specific command: escape for your life. Do not look behind you. Notice the command was not run fast. It was not fight the enemy. It was simply do not look back. But as they were running, as the fire was falling on the old life they were leaving behind, Lot's wife did the unthinkable. She turned her head. She looked back, and the Bible says she became a pillar of salt. Why salt? Why not stone? Because salt is a preservative. When she looked back, she was trying to preserve a connection to a dead past. She was trying to keep a memory alive that God had sentenced to death. And because she tried to preserve the old, she became calcified. She froze in time. She stopped moving. She never made it to the mountain. Chosen one, hear me. You are running out of your Sodom right now. The guilt you felt earlier, that is Sodom calling your name. The nostalgia for the onions and garlic, that is Sodom trying to get you to turn your head. The text message from that ex, that is a notification from Sodom. If you turn your head even for a second to entertain the what-ifs, to check up on their social media, to replay the old arguments in your mind, you risk calcification. You risk freezing exactly where you are. And there is nothing sadder than a chosen one who turned into a statue on the border of their breakthrough. Do not look back. There is nothing there for you but ash. Your future is in front of you. The mountain is in front of you. The download is coming from above, not from behind. I want you to set your face like flint. Lock your eyes on the horizon. Feel the momentum of the Spirit pushing you forward. You are escaping the gravitational pull of your history. You are breaking escape velocity. The shaking you feel, that is the rocket boosters engaging. The fear you feel, that is the G-force of acceleration. Do not abort the launch. We have come a long way in this video. We have diagnosed the glitch. We have seen the signs. We have identified the virus. We have initiated the uninstall. We have fought the guilt and the false emergencies. And now, we are standing on the edge of the new reality. The hard drive is empty. The download is active. The enemy is behind you. The upgrade is upon you. You are no longer the person who clicked on this video 10 minutes ago. That person was confused. That person was a victim. You are now a vessel. You are prepared. You are compatible. But a download is not enough. A program must be installed, but then it must be activated. You can have the most powerful software in the world sitting on your computer, but until you enter the activation key, it is useless. We are about to perform the activation ceremony. This is not just a prayer. This is a legal transaction in the spirit realm. We are going to seal the work we have done. We are going to bind the retaliation of the enemy. And we are going to formally accept the upgrade. I need you to get ready. If you can, find a quiet place. If you are driving, focus your spirit. This is the moment where the rubber meets the road. This is the moment where the word becomes flesh. Do not click away. Do not let the enemy distract you in this final minute. The seal is what makes it permanent. Without the seal, the virus can return. With the seal, the upgrade is locked in. Are you ready to activate your new life? Are you ready to accept what God has been trying to give you? Let us go to the throne room. Wherever you are right now, I need you to shift your internal posture. We are no longer learning, we are transacting. In your mind, I want you to stand up. Rise up out of the seat of the victim. Rise up out of the bed of depression. In your spirit, stand tall, with your shoulders back and your hands open to receive. Visualize yourself standing before the gates of heaven. The court is in session. Father, in the authority of the Most High, I bring this chosen one before the throne of grace. We acknowledge this divine moment. We acknowledge that the atmosphere has shifted and the portal is open. We honor the pain they have carried to get here. Lord, you have seen their tears in the middle of the night. You have felt their confusion when the people they loved turned cold. You saw them trembling in the empty office. You saw them fighting the memories of the past. We do not hide this pain. We place it on the altar as a sacrifice of transition. They have been broken, but they have not been destroyed. And now, by the power vested in me as a guide to your destiny, I seal the manual uninstall protocol over their life. I declare that every virus identified today is deleted permanently. I bind the spirit of guilt that tries to manipulate their empathy. I command it to loose its hold right now. I bind the lying spirit of nostalgia that tries to paint the chains as gold. You have no power here anymore. I silence the voice of the false emergency. I erect a firewall of holy fire around their mind. I decree and declare that the upgrade is now active. I speak to the empty space in their life, and I command it to be filled with kingdom resources. I call forth the new relationships that match their new frequency. I call forth the financial flow that supports their mission. I call forth the new wineskin that will not burst under the weight of your glory. I declare that within the next 72 hours, the evidence will manifest. Signs, wonders, clarity, a peace that passes all understanding will guard their heart and mind. The glitch is fixed. The system is rebooted. Chosen one. The file is downloaded. The button is pressed. But you must confirm it. I am going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer out loud or scream it in the silence of your heart. Do you accept this upgrade? Do you accept the cost? Do you accept the glory? Say, I accept. Say it again. I accept. The seal is set. Heaven has recorded your answer. The old is gone. The new has come. Do not look back. Walk in your new reality. You are dismissed.